This is one of the products from Edelrid that we have been the most excited about for years now. This has been a project that's been going on, I believe, since 2013, and it's finally coming to fruition as a final retail product. What's special about this rope, right, because we've been making ropes for 158 years, so why would we be so excited about this one, is that this is the first rope ever to include recycled content in its production. And in particular, it's using or recycling the leftover content from our rope manufacturing. Ropes are, of course, consumable products. Ultimately, we can only use them for so long, they get retired. They can currently be recycled into lower quality recycled products, maybe a rug or whatnot. What we've been hoping to do is figure out how we create a more circular resource out of our rope manufacturing. So how can we take the climbing industry and basically limit how many raw resources we're wasting or using in the manufacturing of our products. So this is the first big step in getting to the point where you could send your rope in and have it be turned back into a new rope. Currently, we're able to just do it with our pre-consumer leftovers from the rope manufacturing process due to how clean the ropes need to be in order to be able to get that same high quality yarn out of the recycling process. But we are working towards that time when we can send in those used ropes. Gyms can send in all their leftover ropes when they're constantly switching them out, or guiding services or whatnot. All these people who are producing a lot of rope waste will be able to send them into us. So the Neo 3R, which is available this fall, 2021, will be made out of 50% recycled content. But what's most important is that it performs the same as a product that isn't. And that's what the case is with this rope. So we are meeting the same standards for the UIAA single rope test and exceeding them. The actual handling of it feels just like our BOA Eco or our BOA 9.8 that's available now. And you can expect similar abrasion resistance, longevity, handling qualities from our current BOA lineup of ropes. And it will only be available in this color sheath. And so because of that, we will have a permanent middle mark in the middle, 2 black lines, which is our standard middle marking setup on our non-bi-pattern ropes in all the Edelrid lineup. The Neo 3R will only be available as a non-dry treated rope. Like all of our ropes, it goes through a hand inspection. So all of them will have this little tag letting you know that every meter of the rope has gone through a human's pair of hands to inspect it for quality assurance. It's going to be great as that workhorse rope for top roping, for taking people out, for guiding services, anyone like that who's just looking for a burly rope that's going to last and don't need the requirements of a dry treated rope. The sheath of the rope is going to be braided with our 2/2 braiding, and what that means is we've got 2 yarns that are crisscrossing over 2 more. And the reason why we go with that is that offers a very abrasion resistant rope, very abrasion resistant sheath design. So that's going to allow this rope to really last a long time in all sorts of conditions and use and abuse. And then woven into it, in the specific pattern, you'll see when you get up close, there's blue, there's green, and there's white. Those white threads are going to be those recycled threads in the sheath, and the dyed ones will be the non-recycled yarns in there. In general, the rope is going to handle how you'd expect from Edelrid. We're really well known for how supple our ropes handle. It's due to what we call our thermo shield. It's a way we heat treat the initial yarns before it even gets constructed, which allows it to maintain that kind of soft, supple feel throughout its lifetime and be really good at knotting as well as untying after you've weighted that knot. What's so unique about the Neo and what was so difficult about that project was figuring out how to recycle a really high quality yarn, which is what we make ropes out of to start with, into another really high quality yarn. And that's the difficulty with recycling. In general, when we're recycling, we're actually what we call downcycling, where we're taking a really high quality product and making it into a lower quality product, which is still great because we're reusing resources instead of wasting them. But the ultimate goal in all of recycling is that we can recycle one high quality product into the same quality of product again. So some of those steps in order to get there, we start with our pre-consumer ropes here. And so those ropes are going to be maybe ropes that don't pass our quality standard inside the factory, and so that batch may either be a section that gets cut out, or maybe it could be the whole batch, maybe something was wrong with the machine, whatnot, for various reasons. Or we do batch testing for every batch of ropes that we do, and so those sections are tested to failure. Of course, we can't package that and resell it, so those all would be our pre-consumer waste. And then kind of various other reasons why maybe we were testing different sheath designs or different sheath patterns or stuff like that. We're constantly trying to innovate with ropes. So that means we're constantly getting ropes that aren't going to sale. From there, it goes into a really large grinder. It's going to turn into a product called grist, which is this really fuzzy, it almost feels like you could fill a quilt with it. This really soft, fuzzy grist. And then it goes through several processes that get into a product called the agglomerate. And when we're getting down to that agglomerate, we're working on getting out any impurities out of the mix. So making sure we're down to just that nylon or polyamide material that we're trying to recycle. And then ultimately it gets turned into what's called a granulate. And these are like little, what we would look at is called little plastic pellets. Of course, they're made out of nylon. Those are hopefully, in our case, going to be very pure, no imperfections, no dirt, and just the little pellets of pure nylon. And the reason why that's so important, and that actually has been one of the most difficult parts of the process, is because when it gets turned into a yarn, it goes through this little tiny extruder, and if there's any impurities or dirt or anything like that, it can clog that extruder, and then that ruins the whole batch of yarns. And what, once and again, what makes this really difficult is when we manufacture a rope, if we're manufacturing a rope 1,000 meters at a time through our rope machine, that means that the yarns going into that on the bobbin have to be significantly longer than that. So we need to get a very perfect, high quality yarn that's potentially thousands of meters long, nonstop out of this granulate. So that's what makes it really difficult. And it's kind of in these last few steps that took the longest for us to kind of figure out and get the right process. We were trying to find yarn manufacturers and recyclers who would be interested on commercially operated yarn manufacturers and recyclers trying to take on this challenge. We basically couldn't find anyone that was super interested in it because they knew, first off, it's going to be low numbers currently, and they knew it was going to be costly. It didn't seem like it would be a great commercial idea for them. And we actually we got grants from Germany. We worked with local universities and technical institutes to figure out this problem and then be able to go back to a commercial recycle manufacturer with the problem solved for them to make it for us. So these are some of the core yarns from the Neo. These ones are completely recycled content, and so they have this kind of different gray, white, mottled look to it, and that's because it's all the various color ropes that went into it and melted down to be able to create this product. Those little colors show through in the recycling process. A lot of people currently think our Boa Eco has recycled content in it, but basically the Boa Eco has upcycled yarns used in it, so those are yarns that we don't change anything about them. They're just leftover yarns from manufacturing, put them back into the Boa Eco, and each batch looks a little bit different because we're using whatever we have on hand. Where this one's going to have that recycled content. The Boa Eco is going to be a little bit more affordable than the Neo because that upcycled content doesn't add anything to the price, whereas the recycled content does up that price quite a bit, at the moment at least. And obviously we're looking at the long term where at some point the recycled content cost is going to go down and the raw material cost is going to go up. These are also a limited run of ropes since we're just using our pre-consumer waste, so it's not like we can just continue to make as many of these as we'd like. So the amount of raw materials we have to go, recycled raw materials to go back into this is limited. And so we sell, the most ropes that are sold are going to be in our non-dry series actually, as far as just sheer quantity of rope sold. Switching our rope packaging over to a paper-based packaging. So now it'll be made out of FFC certified recycled content and also be recyclable itself once you take it out of the packaging. And with that said, we are trying to limit the plastic that we're using in our entire process through manufacturing, shipping, distributing, and all that business. But some products like a textile PPE, a life safety device like this, it's really crucial, and I'm sure the end user is really excited to know that it was protected through all of its shipping inside of a bag from exposure to various chemicals or anything like that could potentially be damaging to the rope. But what we're able to do is at least make our rope bags out of recycled post-industrial plastics. Yeah.